you do that while I sit up at top 100 for the entire season.
Right. Okay, well, sorry, for those that are trying to watch right now, sorry about it. Twitch is having an issue. I tried streaming directly to their their servers instead of just using the normal type in your stream key, and I think some people can watch it. I think we have like a few people that are
I'm
watching it right
watching
now.
it.
Yeah, so hopefully some of you folks can catch it. If not, the VODs will be up, guys. We should have as much of it as possible up on YouTube later. Okay, well, why don't we talk about some decks now that we've been playing here? I think that's what I have here next. Let me see. Oh, no, actually, I have a wish list next. Yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about wish list? We did like a really fast impromptu wish list last week.
It wasn't fast. It was really long, actually.
Was
it's just
it?
That you
okay.
had no items.
Yeah.
I just enumerated everything I had.
Okay. Well, how about Zalae? What kind of wish lists do you have that are... I would say realistic for 2017. Like what would you say?
Realistic wish list. I mean, I'm pretty happy right now. I don't wish for a lot. I just want them to keep changing things in the metagame so I have new problems to solve and work on. I want new metagames, new decks, new challenges to solve. I want stuff to think about. That's what I'm looking for in a game. New stuff to think about. And lately I've been getting that, so I'm pretty happy.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome not to not have anything.
It's so hard because, like, on one hand I'm super happy, like when I look at the competitive side, but then I look at like the casual side and I'm like, yeah, the entry cost of Hearthstone is unattainable for most new players right now. Like you have to actually get like a full deck now to compete. It's all like new cards and a bunch of new stuff that you have to get, plus the classic set and basic set. And if you, God forbid, you want 2 decks, you want to play Dragon Priest, never mind. So new players are struggling a lot right now. So that's one thing I'd probably put on my wish list. It's not really for me because I don't really give a crap, but just to make sure that people don't rely on the current income, because it's good. Like if I look at Hearthstone compared to say another TCG or another CCG, I think Hearthstone, the fact that you don't need like 4 legendaries and whatnot, like the current acquisition is good enough. But given how much of the stuff you get is fluff and not playable, for people who are looking to enter the competitive deck scene, I think that would be a nice thing to have. Maybe better ways to allocate resources, or simply better ways to acquire them.
Yeah, I think that and something else that would help with it would be that the whole tournament, the tournament system. I think having people be able to play something that's not ladder, just even if you're just say rank 20 to 25, just having something for those folks in that space be able to compete against each other, and just kind of breaking it up into different buckets and having them compete against each other would, I think, help with that. Because right now you're right, everybody's in the same bucket. So if you don't have the cards, then you're never going to get past a certain point. It's not even about skill, and it's just about being limited because of monetary reasons or whatever. At least if you are limited, you could still have some type of achievement, some satisfaction, right? With in competitive too. Like if you're talking about a competitive sense, it could be fun. I mean, if you're just talking about just having fun and just throwing down cards and just having fun with that, interactions and things like that, then I don't think it matters. Like I think those folks don't even care, whether they get some of the new cards or not. And when they're given like the new legendaries, like we did in Whispers of the Old Gods and some of the others, that's great. That's like a real bonus for them, and they feel good about it. But to fix it generally, I think you would need some type of different tournament system that's not the ladder to allow for them to hang out with, just play with each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, play with one another in that system.
And that's a very common request. Yeah.
For new players, I just want to give like a piece of advice. I mean, I don't actually know exactly, so hopefully I'm not saying something that's wrong, but I think probably for less than $100 and less than a month, you can get one competitive deck built. And that would be my piece of advice. If you're a guy who wants to win and you're frustrated by the new Hearthstone experience, go to the Vicious Syndicate or Tempo Storm and pick one net deck that looks cool to you and that looks affordable, and go get that. Buy the expansion you need to buy, disenchant all the stuff that you don't need to build that deck, and craft the cards you need to build that deck and play that deck. That would be my advice to a new player who feels like they're struggling for lack of card availability. You don't need to have $10,000 and have everything golden. You don't need to, wait 6 months to play something. Pick one deck, net deck it, disenchant the stuff that's not relevant to that deck, and craft that one deck and play it. That's my advice.
I would say
you don't have to say this is impossible. I think you could totally do it within a month.
Yeah. And then here's the thing too, guys. If, some folks might be thinking, why just one deck? It's kind of boring just to play one deck. But you know what, guys? When you win, you actually gain more gold, generally speaking, in Hearthstone, which will eventually get you more cards. So, the most efficient way is to do that, is to totally pick the cheapest, best deck that you can get. Cheapest meaning dust, meaning gold, whatever.
Aggro Shaman.
Yeah, Aggro Shaman. Aggro Shaman is very cheap. It's crazy cheap.
It's the best.
It's crazy cheap too. So, one thing I would say too for these meta reports that we just talked about, it'd be great if they added a budget section too. For advice. That's like one of the biggest that's the most common question probably in Hearthstone. Exactly. It'd be awesome if there was a section that was dedicated to that, and it would be awesome if Blizzard updated their recipes a little bit more often. To include one of these decks. That's budget.
Well, they don't really have any incentive to do so for many reasons, but you also don't want to go the route of drafting ideas from your community if you're going to put deck recipes. I mean, I'm not talking obviously
it's already happening anyways. Net decking is accepted at this point.
Sure, but it's like having so here, the trend where Twitch is embedded in some games. I don't think that's the field Blizzard wants for Hearthstone. They won't have Hearthstone pop up say, "Hey, look at this Twitch streamer streaming right now." The same way they won't go, here's this deck that is taken,
I disagree with that. I actually really disagree. I mean, there's definitely some aspects I agree with, but there are some things that I think that, when you're talking about just entry, just ease to entry and even engagement. Sure. I mean, these are the type of things that help with that. The last thing you want to use is a barrier
are
entry.
Budget decks, right? A lot of them are already budget decks. They're even just letting you replace cards you don't have. I mean,
do they change them often? I don't notice if they do. So
no. But if you go in and you don't have a card, they'll just suggest an alternative. So they'll use your collection to build something reasonable. The deck recipes are there as guidelines, and they're pretty functional. If you want to build a Druid deck, that's the new Lotus deck, right?
Yeah.
In that deck, they have 2 legendaries. They've got Aya Blackpaw and Fandral, right?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And if I don't have Aya and Fandral, they'll suggest another, let's say, Vile Teacher, and who knows what other 6-drop. And if I'm a new player and I've got nothing else, they'll probably go, "Oh, here's Boulderfist Ogre for you." And then you don't have Jade Behemoth. Here's another Boulderfist Ogre. You play another Boulderfist and then a War Golem.
Yeah.
Replace everything with curve play so it makes sense. But obviously the deck is worse. What is the budget deck in terms of how many legendaries you have? Is my question. Do you mean not at all? Because the fundamental deck they give you when you start with a classic recipe,
would have none.
They have the class legendary. That's it. There's Scenarios and Druid. There's Archmage and Mage. There's Valiant and Priest. They're terrible, but the classic deck contains one legendary, and it's a class card, and the deck has Boulder Fist, it's got Azure Drakes, it's got Earthering Farseer, it's got all sorts of Harvest Golem stuff. You just don't know why it's there, but it's a standard deck, and it's a classic deck, and it's not very pricey, so they already have that.
I know what you mean. I think another level of complexity to that would be nice, but it just might be it might be asking it might be too much actually, which we say that right? Too much. We always say, "Oh, I don't want to be too much for the players," but actually in this particular case it might be just a little bit too much for literally the brand new player entering into the game. So I have a few more too. So I would say first off, for 2017, I'd like to see more non-serious community events. Everything in the event, everything in Hearthstone right now is just so competitive and serious, and every so often we do get the challenge stones, or I've been doing streamer showdowns recently, and whatever it is, Jabrino, whatever it is, right? I feel like we need more of those things. Just bring in all the people. Like Seed Story is so great because of that. Seed Story is a combination of fun and a competitive event. In fact, I think the competitive event sometimes is just really just only 50% of that event, where everything there's 50% is everything else, and we need more of that in the community so that there's just we're just missing some fun right now. I think the Hearthstone community, and I mean, it's very, very possible. I think the fun events are easier to do than the super competitive ones. That way, and the reason I bring that up is because I've been going through the process of trying to figure out this innovative, cool format for just for the community in a competitive way, and I don't know. I just gotten to the point where there's
no solution.
Yeah, there might be solutions, but there's nothing that's just drastically different.
There's nothing that's elegant, because I could make a drastic tournament. I'll call it like the Ladybug Invitational. You win, you get like a ladybug pillow as a prize, right? Yeah. And the only way you can win is if you play one of these 6 decks that I made. They're all filled with random bullshit. Good luck.
Yeah.
And that's the event. Like, that could be pretty fun. People get to select the class that they want, and then maybe it's a draft system. But like, there's no way to play competitive Hearthstone in a fun manner.
I don't know. I disagree with that. Like, I think there is a way.
Without external, like, Seed Story Cup is fun, but it's not the gameplay that's fun. It's the event that's fun, right? Like, let's just
it's the event altogether. Yeah.
If you're looking for a fun format, you're gonna need some serious, like, imposition of rule sets, stuff like Challenge Stone, which was amazing.
That stuff. It's so good.
The draft system that I thought was fucking fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But these are like very extreme formats. Like, what other extreme format can you make right now that isn't like coming up with a new rule set and drafting cards?
Yeah, what's wrong with coming up with a new rule set? I like that.
I knew.
Like, what's your rule set, right? Like, every
I
single
don't care. It's something new every time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what Moz was doing, with the Moz versus the World type of thing. Yeah, that was awesome. Cool. That was like really, really fun. I mean, it goes beyond that too. Like, I don't even think it needs to be a tournament. Like, we should the biggest and most community centric things I feel like in Hearthstone are the things where we just bring everybody together. And it doesn't have to be for a tournament. It just happens that the tournament is the most used model for doing that. And in a lot of sense, it's just becoming too competitive. Like, I don't know what it, I don't know exactly the solutions, but it's definitely something I'll be thinking about this year, is like figuring out some more, I mean, obviously it's harder to bring locally everybody together, but some more online things that just brings, 4, 5, 6 of us together and just have fun with something different. I think that would be great. And if Blizzard could, organize some of those with their new line of events that they talked about doing in 2017.
Firesides and everything.
Yeah, that would be awesome if they do that.
I mean, I could see a world in which the tournament consists of 3 phases, one of which, like, you have to win a Tavern Brawl duel, then you have to win a constructed duel, and then whoever gets the furthest in an arena run. Like, that could be...
Yeah, any of those things. Like, it's fun. Yeah, it's a really good thing. It's not HCT, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, so dev updates is like, it's kind of like, oh, Champion, go real original, man. No, but no, dev updates. Exactly. Like recently, Ben kind of showed his setup for the dev updates. We found out, it takes a little bit more into the process of making the dev updates. And guys, that in itself, and I'm talking to like Ben and Yongwoo and all that stuff, that in itself is the stuff we're looking for. Just like tell us stuff, you know what I mean? Just be more transparent about everything. And we can possibly help. I mean, there's a million people that make videos right now, you know what I mean? And B, we can, I don't know. It's just like, it's more endearing and sincere. Like when you're that transparent with us and we can understand it more, it's just better communication with the community. And that's all we've been looking for, is stuff like that. So yeah, dev updates.
We're the needy girlfriend.
We are, man. We totally are, man. Just
tell us what's going on,
dude.
You think people watch streams for the games? No, they watch streams because they watch someone very often. Right. And the relationship the community wants with the Hearthstone devs is the same facetious relationship that people get, let's say, like the Overwatch dev team. And the truth is, it's not even about like 100% transparency, but you tweeted us like, here's our current janky setup for the dev updates. And you just show the picture. People are just happy to see that you've got a janky setup that you're trying to move, like to move away from and into something more professional. But they don't want to wait until they pressure you so much that you have to show them the setup. Like, they just want you to say, okay, we're working on it. Sorry, guys, it's in the works. Yeah. Instead of waiting for pressure to just make you cave in. It sucks that it feels like sometimes, there needs to be a critical mass of bullshit before people finally go, all right, open the floodgates, let it come through. Now let's respond. Like, just let it come in a little bit at a time, and maybe one day it'll exhaust itself.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just guessing, okay, because I don't know, but I feel like you know, they could share more with us. I mean, there are definitely some things you don't share just because you know there is some things you don't want to incite folks with, you know, especially if you're not 100% sure about what you're saying. But I feel like there are some things that they could be sharing with us, and they just don't, because there's a general philosophy as to not to, you know, share too much with the community, you know, whatever it is. And I think that's, you know, I just hope that changes. I mean, I think we are probably going to be seeing some changes, you know, in terms of how they deal with community
Ben
this year.
busy as fuck too.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is, you know, obviously been promoted now.
Yeah,
so
dude, he's not only promoted, but he's like a second dad. It's like second time dad. What the hell?
Yeah,
he's on paternity leave. The guy's got no time. There's no way he can just sit down. And
I know, but I know Ben's views on certain things have been different, you know, than what has been going on. Because I think Ben would like to share a bunch of stuff too. So
sure.
I hope that Ben taking the reins does change some of this, and just give priority to the dev updates, guys. Like, because it's super important to us, in my opinion. You know, having them planned out, not like kind of do on the side whenever you have time, and then, hey guys, what do you think of this? Oh, you know, you should change that. No, actually just plan it out, script it out. You know, take just a little bit of time to script it out, and just have Ben do it in one take. That's it. You know, and I think it could be really efficient and you know, than the process that's happening right now. But anyways, that's the dev updates. And the last thing is APIs. I'd like to see them open up some APIs to Hearthstone instead of us having to like parse log files, you know, sift through, you know, memory just to grab like, you know, deck lists and trackers and all that stuff. Just make some public APIs available to developers to make cool tools. You know, we could do more, you know, things to help out the Hearthstone dev team by providing some of these things that they don't have right now, or at least providing some fill-ins in the meantime while they're working on whatever they are in the game. And, you know, the sealed tool was great. And I know Hearthstone, the Tempo Storm team is improving that soon, so hopefully we can do some events with, you know, just even more different parameters with the sealed tool. But it'd be awesome to be able to get more things like that, you know, and just make it easier for the community to do that. You know, we're not trying to steal the IP, you know, we're not going to do anything like that. It's just making tools to help all the Hearthstone players and whatnot enjoy the game even more. So yeah, it'd be awesome if they could do that. At least the dev team.
I think it's a matter of, you know, how many people will use this feature, because we're in the era of mobile gaming. No, I know, but like we're in the era of mobile gaming, right? And like, would you ask for API for Candy Crush?
Would I ask for API with Candy Crush?
Probably never, right?
Not for if you play Candy Crush. I mean, Candy Crush is different.
You're not playing it. I mean, it's a different game, I understand, but you need to understand that like the marketability of Hearthstone is pretty much Candy Crush. It's on mobile. It's at the top of the charts. Everybody can play it. It's easy. It looks appealing. It's got the art style to make it work. It's just good, in terms of the way it looks and the way that it feels when you play it. So when you look at it from that perspective, like having an API is not like a crazy priority, because it's not the development we're going, you know, if we're going to focus on the most. It's probably more important that they reduce the size of the app than it is that they give us an API. You know what I mean? Like their priority list is just like the APIs are way at the bottom, and they realize that there are problems that are more important. And it sucks because I've wanted API since day one. I just wanted to be able to extract data, and just use it for like an online ranking tool or win rate tracking and everything. It's just not a thing right now.
I disagree with that, because I feel like the most vocal critics and the you know, folks that probably stress them out the most are the ones that are the most hardcore and not the casual people. Sure. You know, and yeah, how many people would use this thing? It doesn't take many people to use it to create a tool that a lot of people would use. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really about how many people actually develop something. It's about how many people create something that a lot of people want to use.
Okay, so I'll give an example here, because I've actually been playing too much Path of Exile. But you think that just by opening up the API, in Path of Exile, there's this thing where they created an option for you to filter loot. So some of the loot you get doesn't show up on the screen, so it doesn't clutter too much. So it's not like a loot explosion and you have like 1,000 items. And people can customize those loot filters and share them with others and say, here's my loot filter. You can copy paste it in your folder and use that loot filter as well. You think having the API would be the equivalent as far as calming down the general rage, as it was perhaps like a quality of life tool in Path of Exile? Like, I don't know. I don't know what tool would be made that would make people love Hearthstone more than they already do.
You don't have to know. Like, just one person has to come up with the idea and do it. Like, you don't have to be able to see what great things are going to come from this. You just have to know there's a lot of potential.
I mean, I know there's potential because I mean that's the point of APIs, but I don't know how much people want to see how much they lose. That's the
Well, if you
That's
don't,
the
I mean,
thing, dude, like,
you
I
don't
think
have to
you need
use
to
it.
look-
If you're not one of those people,
That's
you don't
not
have
the
to
way
use
it works, Chan, man. It's like saying you don't have to look at your score in StarCraft 1. Yet everybody fucking did.
No, but we're
and
talking about
everybody restarted
we're talking about third-party tools. We're not talking
It
about
is
something
third-party.
built into
right,
the
but
thing.
the moment you hear about it, the moment it becomes remotely a thing, then you just either quit because you feel bad, or you just go even more hardcore because you're very interested in
Safe
improving yourself.
spaces.
But I'll tell you that the
Safe
culture is
spaces.
not about self-improvement. It's about hiding issues, and it's just a fact about gaming that you can't
Ooh,
like.
God.
that's
people
very
really
true.
don't
Very
like to lose. People hate it. So
People play games to hide from their problems.
no, they hide. They no.
I
People
know
play
what you
games,
mean. I know.
and
I
they
know.
just
I'm
don't want to
kidding.
lose.
I know.
That's just
I
it.
know.
If they lose,
want
they
to feel
flip
good.
shit.
I get it. I totally get it.
It's just
Um,
bad.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay,
bad.
well, why don't we move on, because we probably don't have that much time, given that we're going to do the show match thing, and hopefully this Twitch thing fixes it. I think it's starting to fix itself now. So,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about decks, and we'll see if we have time for actually Q&A. I'm not sure we will. So, let's go to let's see the card view here, and okay, so we have Zalae's Reno Priest first. And this priest, it was labeled OTK, but I don't see any OTK in this deck. Okay, so
It's got an OTK in there. You've got to discover.
Okay, wait. I
it's
need to look at
it's
it.
like
dude.
a solve
All right,
the
give me a
lethal.
second.
It's a solve the
Give me a
lethal.
second. I need to
puzzle.
download this.
You already know this. It's pretty simple.
Okay, let me look at it. I need to zone in. I need to find one card that looks like an OTK tool.
Well, yeah. It's not the most
Oh, the
consistent
Garrison
OTK.
Commander. I see.
No.
Garrison
it's
Commander
not.
to what? What's the
I mean the Raza the Chain. Sorry, with the Oh, you didn't put the auctioneer.
this?
It's not a very
Even
consistent
Shadow Spot
OTK.
isn't even in there.
Okay, wait,
so-
bro. It's an OTK. It's an actual OTK.
No. Well, yeah, it has an actual. You can actually OTK. Sometimes.
Find the
So
lethal.
wait, do bro. Wait up.
It's infinite. You can kill him from 600 theoretically. Well, not really. There's not enough time, but
There's got to be a card I'm not seeing here.
all right. I'll spoil it for the viewers at home.
Go.
Cabal Courier is gonna need.
I was gonna
discover-
say, like, is it really a Cabal Courier? Are you?
You're gonna discover a Coldara Drake off of Cabal Courier.
Oh no!
I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't happen that often. I've heard it's around 1 in 60. I haven't got it yet. I've played it for hours. But you
I've
discover
still
if
never
you
done
ever-
it either.
If you ever get Coldara Drake off your Cabal Courier, then that allows you to spam your hero power as many times as you have like time and mana for, right? And your hero power is free from Raza, and you use Shadow Form so your hero power is dealing
Oh,
damage,
man.
and boom, got him.
Oh, dude.
OTK.
Special
You do it-
tactics.
Turn 5 kill every time.
2-card OTK, or actually 3-card
Three
OTK.
card.
3-card
I'm
OTK.
done with this show, boys. I'm not- that's it. If this is the
Oh,
level of
God.
OTK decks,
It's not really an OTK. This is a
But it's
fatigue
awesome.
control
I love
deck.
This is
I
a
love the
fatigue
deck.
You
control
just-
deck, yeah.
Almost every matchup, you're just looking to just survive all of everything they do and grind them out, and I love it. It's beautiful.
I tried this deck like not too long ago, and those of you wondering, it's got Smite, Potion of Madness, Powered Shield, Ooze, Rat, Doomsayer, Commander, Pain, Bran, Courier, Talon Priest, Mind Control Tech, Death, Shadow Form. It's got Thought Stealing. Wow,
it has to have Shadow
Priest
Form,
of
man.
Yeah, Shadow Form for sure, but Thought Steal. Wow. Priest of the Feast, Shadow Madness, Darkshire Alchemist, Excavated Evil, Nova, Soul, Song Stealer, right? Nexus Champion Sarad, which is cool. Raza value. Raza, of course. Second rated Brawler, Dragon Fire Potion, Entomb, Reno, Sylvanas, and Mind Control. So the Mind Control, that's a surprising pick there. So what do you hit normally with that?
Some big dumb 8/8. It used to be Confessor Paltris, and I was like, this card is really
not
bad. It gets a
consistent.
lot of Thalnos and 2/2, just
Yeah.
complete garbage off.
Yeah.
It's really disappointing. It dies every time with 4 health. And so I was like, I could really use another answer to big dumb stuff, because those things kill me sometimes. And having just Shattered Death and Entomb is kind of not enough. I want like a third one. So Mind Control, and yeah, it's just kind of like you can have a dead card in your deck against aggro, because if you draw the good cards against aggro, you're going to win anyways.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're going to lose anyways. And having a nice, big, slow, greedy answer to win some of those slower matchups, which happen kind of a lot on ladder right now. I thought MC Tech was pretty good.
And the Reno Priest mirror gives you an edge too. Like that's the one thing that I like.
Yeah.
Like this greedy list is just good for that.
There's no Medivh in this deck though, man. I'm disappointed. Medivh is like awesome with Mind Control and Kazakus actually.
Right? I mean, that is the next level of greed. If you want to go one step further, you could throw a Medivh in there. One of my issues with Medivh right now is just that like it's obviously terrible against aggressive decks, and against slower decks, they're typically Kazakus decks and have 1 acidic Swamp Ooze in all of them, and they can just save that for your Medivh. But nobody expects Medivh out of Priest, so maybe it'll work anyways, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you can at least get one spell off with it, because Medivh's not... I mean, Medivh's 8, right? So maybe you can get a pain and get at least a little value from the weapon. I usually swing with that weapon first anyways. I'm always in a position where there's some guy with 1 health that I have to kill when I play Medivh.
You're like,
oh, fuck. The value
this guy will represent 10 damage over a few turns if I don't kill him. Let me...
Exactly.
If I put Medivh in this deck, I would do it with the mindset of I'm probably just not going to play this card until after I see them play their acidic Swamp Ooze, because they're probably going to play it out, not expecting me to have a Medivh.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, why don't we talk about... I don't know if we'll talk about all of these decks, but let's talk about the Rogue, because the Rogue is one that I think is really cool that Noxious has. And it's actually a Rogue I saw Jackie playing like a day or two ago, ranking up from, I think, 8 at the time. And rank 8 early on, guys, is actually, pretty high, like on the first day or whatever. But this is like double backstab, double prep, cold bloods, patches, got the pirate opening, eviscerate sap, Edwin Shaku, SI agent, Silent Knight, Defender Argus, and Shadow Sensei. So these are some of these new cards: Lotus Assassin, Azure Drake, and Sprint. So different approach on, I guess what you would say is a combo-ish, aggro-ish type of.
It's a tempo rogue. It's the purest form of tempo rogue I've ever played in my life. Like I've tried everything from, like, if you look at the beta days of Hearthstone, tempo rogue had like Black Knight and Assassin's Blade and Assassinate sometimes even. They tried all sorts of stuff, but it never really had the early game consistency of Buccaneer into patches into, hey, I'm gonna get to turn 3 and start my gameplay from there.
Yeah,
like you don't need backstab and sap to give you tempo as hard now, because what they can help you do is more than give you tempo, they can actually help you push for lethal early. Like when you have this opener, you can just get, oh, I'm gonna sap your 2-drop and just cold blood on the coin and just kill you very, very quickly. So I think that happens more often now with Rogue, and this type of deck is effectively just trying to find an excuse to play Shadow Sensei. Like I had a discussion with someone because at the beginning of the expansion, I built a deck that was pretty much like 95% this. And I had a discussion with someone about Lotus Assassin and Shadow Sensei because I thought those cards were just good in Rogue, and you should probably try to build a tempo deck that is around them. But back then, I feel like the patches package, like on day 1 or something, was just not really explored much, and it didn't feel like the most automatic inclusion to go like double Swashbuckler, double small time patches, double cold blood to go hyper aggro. Because I felt like if I wanted to play tempo, I needed more defenders, Divine Shield minions like Argent Squire, and play more 1-drops. And it turned out to be the wrong approach. So when I went back to it, ended up putting more top end in the double prep for the prep sprint and finding room for the assassin, for the Shadow Sensei. And the deck didn't really change much since release, but the difference is the metagame's less aggressive. Like the aggro pirate warriors are gone. Aggro shaman's still a thing, so that's gonna eat you alive. But that's the reason Argus is there. That's why Silent Knight is so good in the matchup. As stupid as that sounds, Silent Knight gets to snipe a totem for free. If you have Shadow Sensei, it kills a totem golem for free. Like the amount of times where you just win against a shaman because you're there on the board earlier than he is insane. The biggest thing that I've had to do with this deck is play extremely around Maelstrom Portal, because if it lands, you're done. Like there's a lot of little nuanced plays where you go, Shadow Sensei with Silent Knight onto a totem golem. It's left with 1 health. You have patches stuff left over. You lose to Maelstrom Portal, so you have to make sure your guys are healed up. If that means using a sap on a 1-drop, just do it. It sucks, but like that's how extreme it is.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I really like I like the whole Silent Night and Sensei and Shaku. I mean, Shaku we've seen recently, and I mean some videos, obviously with JJ and Life Coach, it's crazy reaction videos. Has had some value. It's like Zalae, you were telling me when you were first reviewing it, you actually thought this card had some potential.
Yeah, it's not like I think Shaku's a great card, but when people were discussing it with me, they were telling me it was complete garbage and unplayable, and I was like, nah, I think you could put it in a deck. Doesn't seem that bad. It's kind of okay on power level.
Yeah. This is the type of deck that just barely wins, right? Like Noxious, like does it come down to like the last turn sometimes? Just like really, you blow out
like disgusting blowouts.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I like blowouts.
Yeah,
I've had like Silent Night turn 3 into Shadow Sensei against the Dragon Priest is like the dream. Against Arena Lock, they're still struggling, like because you have the explosive opener, so you still do that stupid stuff. Like that's the important part. And by the time they dealt with that stupid stuff, you're like, okay, here's a Lotus Assassin, and then they want to develop on the board. And they try, but then you have Sap. You have Shadow Sensei for Lotus Assassin that can make it a 7/7 that restelts itself. Like, that is bonkers. It's like it kills something and it kills something else or them. Pick one. It's like the fact that Lotus Assassin stealths itself after you get a value trait is nuts.
Yeah.
In the Rogue Mirror, it's amazing. Like, it's just, I think, such a good card for this specific deck. It's a shame that it took so long for people to start playing it because I thought my hipster ass had come up with something cool here.
It is cool.
People are running this.
No, I mean, dude, I'm telling you that I saw Jackie play it. Okay, so that's another fellow hipster, right? It's a fellow hipster ass guy,
and I'm like, this is a good deck, dude. This is it. And it's not.
Okay. Oh my god! All right.
Yeah, taking the.
When I look at this deck, I just want to put Tomb Pillager in there and Gadgets and Auctioneers. That makes me a bad person.
Of course you might. You might as well throw a Fan of Knives too.
Yes.
But I swear, I swear, if you want to do that, what I would cut is cut one Swashbuckler, cut the last SI, and just go like Auctioneer Pillagers, and you cut the sprints, right?
Do you have to have Argus? Is that a thing that needs to be
I think Argus needs to be there for like against aggro.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like your minions stick to the board, so what does Argus do?
They do. Silent Night does. I mean, the stuff you get is
it definitely
pretty...
sticks to the board, yeah. For sure. Because it's stealth. I mean, like a lot of stuff's either it's gonna be hard to kill with those two minions.
You always have like one leftover mana somewhere to weave in a pirate and taunt it up at the worst case scenario. And Lotus Assassin and Shadow and Silent Night are always targets for that. So
yeah,
for some reason it works. Like Defensive Argus has just worked. I haven't found a reason to replace it yet. There might be one, but I think the issue with making this a Miracle Rogue deck is suddenly I want Leroy, and I
could live without Leroy. You got deckhand, like whatever.
Sure, but I mean, I feel like I want to be more aggressive, and suddenly it's like, why the stealth theme without questing conceal? Like I might as well go questing conceal. I
just feel bad about cutting Tomb Pillager. Like when you're allowed to play that card, you probably should. Or...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the gadget sand that makes me want to just off myself when I play this deck. Like I've tried it with the gadget sand. It's like here's this card that's the opposite of tempo.
It's value. It's pure value.
Gadget and sprint are the same in that, right?
I mean, yeah, sprint is more like a hand replenishment tool. The issue is you don't get to use your spells without gadget sand without feeling bad very often. Whereas now I can like throw spells. For their immediate purpose, as opposed to hey, I'm sacrificing this thing.
Sure.
And prep is probably accompanied by sprint a lot of times in this deck too. Yeah, it's like so it's like a 4 mana.
Most of the time. Sometimes you get preps up on like a 3-drop, and you're like, okay, that sucked, but here I win.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I think this feels like in some ways plays like a Dragon Warrior, but it's faster. I think the winning window is also probably faster. You do have the Edwin. You still have the Edwin craziness, which is always great. That can just win you games by itself. So it's always good to have that win condition. You don't like the win? You don't like the Edwin win condition? It's awesome. What do you mean?
I don't think it's that amazing. Like that's one of the first cuts I'd make. Funny enough, like
really.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say Edwin's way too strong.
Yeah, it's like a win condition.
A little bit. It's like Edwin was way more okay when Ironbeak Owl cost 2 and Big Game Hunter cost 3, and now Edwin is like pretty dumb.
Right, but in this deck, it's just you almost never find a spot because I don't play counterfeit coin. Like the only time I get a good Edwin will be like on turn 6, where I go like, backstab, 1-drop, sap Edwin, or something like that,
Yeah, I
or
know
like
what you mean.
Shaku, Prep, Sap, Edwin. Like it's kind of rare that I get these crazy openers with him. It's just not really a thing. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure occasionally it'll happen, and I'll just be like, okay, why didn't I do this earlier in my
Well,
life?
you have a
But
handful of spells and you have Edwin, and it's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
yeah, I mean,
kind
it
of thing.
doesn't
Yeah,
happen very often, luckily, because the deck works in a way that has a lot of minions.
yeah.
But yeah, it is. That's actually why I ended up.
Cool.
I don't like SI. Like for SI just bothers me. Like that card just doesn't feel right. For
It's
the
hard.
deck, but
It's hard not to have it against
it's like Two
aggro.
Pillager. Cutting
Yeah.
it hurts me.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to wrap up, guys, because we have to get this show match started. But we got a few more decks that we can maybe bring back up next week. But Zalae, it's been awesome having you on though this week, and
thanks.
hopefully we can have you back on. In the near future too. But I know I know some leagues coming up, so it might be another few weeks before we have you on again.
Yeah.
It always feels like home having you on though.
It feels good to be here, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You want to do some shout outs before you go?
Shout out to you guys for having me. Shout out to Team Luminosity. They're the best. And yeah, that's about it. Shout out to all my fans, I guess.
Awesome.
To all my fans who supported me through 2016.
2017
through the mid-range shaman meta, guys. We did it.
That's a good one, guys.
Now.
Oh man,
We made it.
we made it exactly. Made it to the happy place. At least some of us are in the happy place. Noxious, shout outs.
Shout out to Complexity. They're the best.
Oh.
I like my team. The guys are good. The guys are cool. And to a cool 2016. Just shout out to Valley Town for improving as well. You know, ChanManV, you've been doing quite a lot of work on it last year. It's shown. We're doing great. And hopefully the year is just as good, if not better.
Yeah,
Better.
thanks, man. And one thing that we didn't talk about just really quickly is like just for complexity. Super JJ won the Zagreb, the little tournament Zagreb tournament that happened a couple days ago. So congrats to him for doing that. And also I want to give a shout out to the patrons. We didn't get a chance to do that. We didn't get a chance to do milestone, guys, because we dropped below the milestone. Unfortunately, we actually had a few folks with
Milestone.
milestone, exactly. So take a look at that if you guys want to still see or hear milestone, lapstone, whatever we're going to be doing here. Check out the Patreon at patreon.com/valuetown. But special thanks to our big legendary producers Mike T and Louis G, as always. They're exceptional, awesome people. And a few others: Julius K, Esser G, Bobby D, Gary D, Dan S, Joel A, Jake L, Matthew H, Will S, and David T for being patrons for some of you guys for a very long time. So thank you so much for that. Big shout out to some of our iTunes folks too that have been leaving 5-star reviews and helping us out with just helping people find Value Town when they're searching for Hearthstone podcasts on iTunes. Jacob the Professor Perez, Dallas C, Soma 11, and NS Hornet. Yeah, exactly. I'd like to call myself the Professor one of these. That'd be a great call name.
Oh, you can call me the Professor. It's
Yes.
like, what the hell?
It's like, hell yeah, man. That's
such a
awesome.
cool name, dude.
Yeah, totally. But we didn't have enough time to get some questions this week, but we do have a bunch of email questions that we will cover next week. So send your we questions over to valuetown@chanmanv.tv and we'll get them. I know a lot of people had trouble watching the show today, so I will get the VOD together. It might take some time because we were having some issues over here trying to figure out the best way to record it too. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be on youtube.com/chanmanv, and then again on iTunes. Just look for us. Just search for Valuetown or search for Hearthstone. You'll find us there. That's going to be it for at least the show portion of Valuetown. We're going to be doing I think people are thinking we should call it Valuetown Throwdowns or something. I'm trying to come up with some just casual name for it. Yeah. So we're doing a show match.
Valuetown Throwdown.
Valuetown
Downs
Throwdowns.
Throwdown. Let's do it.
The Downs Throwdown. What? Okay.
I think Valuetown Throwdown sounds
I
good.
think that
I
sounds
like
good
that.
too. Guys, we're doing a show match with Orange and Jackie Chan. It's going to be a new format. We're doing class drafts and bans, and we actually have all that recorded too from a couple days ago. So definitely check that out right after this. I'm going to stop the stream here. Elefina is going to start it up like immediately after. So stay here because it's going to start right back up. But for the show, at least, in Zalae, Noxious, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you later.